Picture this. You've spent years being the backbone of a family, quietly sacrificing your time, your resources, your heart. No thanks, no recognition, just doing what family does. Then, out of nowhere, at a family dinner, your stepdaughter, someone you've poured everything into, looks you in the eye and says, "You're not half the woman my Aunt Marissa is." The words hang in the air like a bomb about to explode. You freeze. The table goes silent. And in that moment, everything you thought you knew about loyalty, love, and family is about to shatter. Welcome to Voices of Granny Tina, where the kind of family drama you've only seen in movies is about to unfold. You think you know what family secrets are? Baby, you haven't seen anything yet. This story? It's personal. It's raw. It's about betrayal, power, and the truth nobody wanted to hear. I'm not just a stepmother to this family. I've been their strength when they had none, their support when they needed it most. But tonight, the world as I knew it is about to come crashing down. You won't believe what's about to happen. Stick with me, hit that subscribe button, and brace yourself. The storm is coming, and it's one you'll never forget. I've given everything for this family. And I mean everything. Long before Tyrell even became my son-in-law, when he was just a lost young man trying to find his way in the world, I saw something in him. He didn't ask for help, but I knew he needed it, and I stepped in. Paid for his college tuition. Every dime of it. I didn't owe him a single thing, but I did it because I believed in him. He wasn't family yet, not in blood, but you couldn't have told me he wasn't mine. I treated him like my own, because that's what family does. We show up for each other, no matter what. Then, when my stepdaughter Amara came along and needed a job, you know what I did. I didn't hesitate. I used every single connection I had, every favor I'd ever called in, just to make sure she had a place to start. A job. A future. She was struggling, and I could have easily just let her figure it out like everyone else in the world. But that's not who I am. That's not what family is. I gave them both the tools to build their lives. I didn't do it for a thank you or a pat on the back. You do it because you love them, because they matter. And you don't expect anything in return. You don't expect the world to bow down or for them to throw you a parade. But a little respect? Just a little gratitude? You'd think that's not too much to ask. I've never asked for anything, but tonight was different. That's when it hit me. As we sat around the dinner table, the clink of silverware on china, everyone laughing and chatting like everything was right in the world, Amara looks me dead in the eyes and says, "You're not half the woman my Aunt Marissa is." The air in that room? It froze. I could feel it pressing against me, suffocating me. In that single moment, everything I'd done, every ounce of love and effort I'd put into this family, was stripped away. The silence that followed was deafening. Time itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for me to react. I couldn't breathe. The words rang in my ears, louder than any noise in that room. "You're not half the woman my Aunt Marissa is." And just like that, my world tilted. Now, don't get it twisted, I'm not some shrinking violet. Life's thrown its punches at me before, and I've learned how to take them, even throw a few back. But this was different. This wasn't some petty disagreement or a misunderstanding. No, this was betrayal. I looked around the table. The faces of the people I've helped, supported, loved. And all I saw was confusion. Maybe they didn't even know what was happening. But I knew. I knew that in that instant, everything changed. Amara didn't see me. Not for who I truly was. She was blinded by this image of her Aunt Marissa, this woman she thought had it all, who never had to fight for anything, who never had to struggle. She didn't know the sacrifices I made, the things I gave up so she and Tyrell could have a future. She didn't know the half of it. But she was about to learn. And let me tell you, it wasn't going to be pretty. It wasn't going to be quiet. No, ma'am. I wasn't going to let her word slide. Not this time. Not after everything I'd done. I stood up slow, deliberate. Every inch of me filled with a heat I hadn't felt in years. The chair scraped against the floor, and in that sound, the tension in the room grew thick enough to choke on. The rest of the family froze, their eyes locked on me. I wasn't angry, not yet. But I was hurt. And when you've been hurt like this, you don't just let it go. No, you make them feel it. You make them see the truth. I looked her right in the eye, and I didn't flinch. "What did you just say to me?" I asked, my voice soft, but sharper than a knife. Amara's face twisted in confusion. She hadn't expected me to react this way. She thought she could just say those words and walk away. But that wasn't gonna happen. Not anymore. I could see it in her eyes, the realization dawning on her. She'd crossed a line. She didn't even know the half of what she'd just done. And right then, I knew the truth had to come out. But it wouldn't come out just yet. No, I was gonna make her feel every second of it. Every second of what she just threw away. I wasn't just gonna fight for respect. I was gonna fight for my truth. The truth that had been buried under years of sacrifice, of giving, of doing everything for everyone else while nobody noticed. "Amara," I said, my voice steady now, "you've had everything handed to you while I've been out here making things happen. For you. For Tyrell. I didn't have to do it. I didn't have to help you both. But I did. Because that's what family does." I paused, letting the words sink in. Letting them hang in the air like the storm I felt brewing inside of me. "You've been living in a fairy tale, baby. And Aunt Marissa? She's no fairy godmother. She's been playing you all for years. But you'll learn the truth, and it won't be pretty." The room went dead silent. You could have heard a pin drop. The weight of my words settled over the table like a heavy blanket, and I watched Amara's expression flicker between confusion and realization. But I wasn't done. Oh no. I was just getting started. I could feel the eyes of the family on me, but I didn't care. I wasn't here for them. I wasn't here to explain myself to anyone anymore. This was for her. This was for Amara to understand what she had taken for granted, what she had so casually dismissed. And it was time she knew. You don't get to step on the people who love you without paying the price. I'm done. Done playing the quiet game. Done with sitting in the background while everyone else gets their shine. Done with carrying the weight, with being the one to give, to support, to smile through the hurt. No more. I've given enough to this family, more than enough. Tyrell and Amara, they don't know half of it. I've spent years making sure they had everything they needed. Tyrell? He wasn't even family yet when I stepped in and paid for his tuition. Paid every penny, no questions asked. Why? Because I saw something in him. I didn't need him to thank me. I didn't need him to bow down and kiss my feet. I just needed him to see me, to understand what I'd given up for him. And Amara, my stepdaughter? She was struggling. She didn't have the right connections, didn't know where to start. I didn't hesitate. I picked up the phone, used every connection I had to make sure she got the job, the opportunities, the future. She didn't even have to ask, and I gave her everything I had, my resources, my time, my effort. I didn't do any of that for some cookie-cutter, Hallmark thank you card. No. I did it because I believe in family. I believe in supporting one another. I believe that if you're not building up your people, then what are you doing? What's the point of all this if you can't help the ones you love rise? But tonight, everything changes. Tonight, I'm not holding back anymore. Tonight, Amara's words cut deeper than any knife ever could. You're not half the woman my Aunt Marissa is. Those words, baby, they hit harder than any punch. My chest tightened. My heart stopped for a second. You don't get to speak to me like that. Not after everything I've done for you. Not after everything I've sacrificed. I could feel it, the tension in the room thick as molasses. The way everyone's eyes dropped to the floor, too scared to say anything. They know. They all know. They've seen me give, and they've all been quiet, letting me do the heavy lifting while they sat back and watched. Well, not tonight. Not anymore. I pushed my chair back, slow and deliberate. The scrape of it against the floor was loud enough to echo through the silence, and in that moment, every eye in that room was on me. I didn't need to say a word. I wasn't about to just sit there and let her disrespect me like that, like I was nothing. The tension in the air grew thick, so thick, you could have cut it with a butter knife. It was like the whole room held its breath, waiting to see what I'd do next. Well, honey, I was done waiting. I wasn't gonna be silent anymore. I stood up straight, my shoulders back, my spine strong. I wasn't just standing up physically. I was standing up for myself, for everything I've done, for everything I've built. And right then, I wasn't about to let her or anyone else forget it. I turned to Amara. "What did you just say to me?" I asked, my voice calm but laced with a cold edge. The room was still. You could hear a pin drop. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Everyone was frozen, waiting for the storm that was about to hit. Amara didn't know what to say. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. And in that moment, I saw it, that flicker of realization in her eyes. She knew. She knew she'd crossed a line. But I wasn't going to let her off easy. I walked over to her slowly, each step heavy with purpose. I didn't need to raise my voice. My presence was enough. I was in control. And I wasn't going to let her make me feel small. Not anymore. "I've been there for you, Amara," I said, looking her dead in the eye. "I've been there for you and Tyrell when nobody else would. I paid for his college, not because I had to, but because I believed in him. I gave him a future when the world said he didn't deserve one." Her eyes shifted, her discomfort growing, but I wasn't done. Oh no. She wasn't going to get off that easy. "And you, my dear, I've done the same. When you needed a job, when you couldn't find your way, I moved mountains to make sure you had a chance. And what did I get in return? A disrespectful comment like that." I shook my head slowly. "No, baby girl. No." I felt my pulse quicken as I spoke. The raw truth was spilling out of me, and I wasn't holding back anymore. This wasn't about a little argument. This was about years of silence, years of swallowing my pain for the sake of the family. I paused, letting the weight of my words sink in. Amara stood there, her mouth still hanging open, unsure of how to respond. "You've had everything handed to you while I've been out here building a life for you both," I continued. "You think Aunt Marissa is the queen of the world? The woman who never had to lift a finger, who always had everything handed to her on a silver platter. Honey, you don't know the first thing about struggle. You don't know the price of what it takes to build something from nothing. You think she's the one who deserves your respect?" I took a step closer to her, my voice growing stronger, clearer. "Let me tell you something. I'm the one who built your foundation. I'm the one who helped you stand tall. And now, you want to compare me to someone who's never had to do a day's hard work in her life? Not in this house. Not anymore." I stared her down. My words were cutting through the air like daggers. I was done being the quiet, understanding woman. I was done being the one who forgives and forgets. "And let me make this clear," I said, my voice low, "dangerous now. You don't get to disrespect me. Not after all I've done for you. Not after I poured my heart, my soul, my resources into your success. You don't get to sit at this table and act like I'm just some background character in your life. You don't get to pretend like you don't know the truth about who's been there for you from the start. So, take a long, hard look at who's really been standing by you, who's really been the one to make sure you got ahead." I could see her eyes filling with tears, but I wasn't stopping. I wasn't going to coddle her. I wasn't going to let her play the victim after all the harm she'd just done. She needed to understand this. She needed to feel this. "I didn't do any of this for glory, Amara. I did it because I love you. But you've taken that love and turned it into something else, something ugly. You've turned it into a comparison game with Aunt Marissa. And that's where you cross the line." I took a step back, breathing heavily now. The anger, the hurt, the years of sacrifice, it was all spilling out. It felt like I was standing there naked, exposing the truth I'd kept buried for so long. And when I looked around the room, at the faces of the family members who had sat back and watched all these years, I saw it. They weren't judging me anymore. They weren't looking at me with that same indifference. The truth was in the air now, and nobody could deny it. Not anymore. Amara, I said softly, you're not going to get away with disrespecting me. Not like this. Not after everything I've done for you. Not after everything I've built. I turned to face the rest of the family, my eyes hardening. And don't any of you think you're off the hook either. This is the truth. This is the reality. And if you've been too scared to speak up until now, it's time to make a choice. You either stand with me or you don't. The room was still. Silent. But I knew. I knew everything had changed in that moment. Nothing would ever be the same. Not for me. Not for Amara. Not for anyone in that room. The storm had just begun. You want to know something, Amara? I never looked up to Aunt Marissa. Not once. She was always too perfect, too polished. It was like she was always playing some game, making sure the rest of us saw her as this perfect woman, the kind who could do no wrong. But my instincts? Oh, they were screaming at me all along. Something about her didn't sit right, no matter how much she smiled or how sweet she sounded. For years, I watched her, and for years, I kept telling myself, maybe I'm just being paranoid. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. I didn't trust her, and I didn't care how much she played the role of the caring aunt. She was hiding something. That woman was covering her tracks, pretending to be all loving and kind while secretly pulling the strings behind the scenes. And let me tell you, her act? It was fooling everyone except me. But you, Amara? You were blind to it. You were so busy thinking Aunt Marissa was your role model that you missed the truth, missed all the red flags I saw from the start. And now, baby, I'm about to rip the mask off and show you who your Aunt Marissa really is. She wasn't just the perfect aunt you thought she was. She was the mastermind of a web of lies, manipulations, and deceit that's been spinning around all of us for years. I've been sitting on this truth for far too long. But you need to hear it because you've been living under her control, thinking she had your best interests at heart. And now it's time you knew exactly who she is. I'm standing here, looking at Amara, and it feels like the weight of everything is finally lifting off my shoulders. Because right here, right now, I'm about to expose it all. Let's start with the big one, the one you're going to have the hardest time swallowing. Aunt Marissa had plans for you. Big plans. But not the kind you'd expect from a loving aunt. No, baby. She wasn't just looking out for you. She wasn't just giving you advice and helping you out. She was secretly plotting to send you away, and not just anywhere, to a drug cartel in Mexico. Yeah, you heard me. When you were 13 years old, Aunt Marissa was already in contact with a cartel. She'd planned to ship you off, give you to them, and who knows what else they would have done. You were just a pawn in her sick little game. And here's the kicker, she was getting ready to do it. She had already arranged everything. The private investigator, the contacts, the money. She was going to sell you, Amara. Sell you. I know. You're probably looking at me like I'm crazy, like I've lost my mind. But baby, this is the truth. And if you can't stomach it, then you're going to have to face it anyway, because Aunt Marissa's perfect life? It's all a lie. A damn illusion. You want proof? You want to see exactly what this woman was planning for you? I've got the evidence, Amara. I've been holding on to it all these years. I wasn't about to let her get away with what she almost did to you. I wasn't about to stay silent while she played all of us for fools. And now, it's time you saw the truth. I pulled an envelope from my bag, one I'd kept hidden for years, just in case this day ever came. And you know what, Amara? It's time. I'm not holding it back any longer. I slapped that envelope down on the table so hard, it echoed in the silent room. My hands were shaking, but I wasn't about to back down now. The truth had to come out. Open it, Amara. Go on. Open it and see what your precious Aunt Marissa had planned for you. Her face was pale, her eyes wide with confusion and disbelief. I could see her hands tremble as she reached for the envelope. She didn't want to believe it, didn't want to see what was inside. But she had to. There was no more running from the truth. I watched her carefully as she opened the envelope, slowly pulling out the contents. The first photo was you, standing outside a convenience store at 13 years old, looking innocent, unaware of what was coming. The second photo? Aunt Marissa, handing a thick envelope to a man I didn't recognize, someone clearly tied to some dirty dealings. The third one was a shot of Aunt Marissa smiling in a meeting with a man from the cartel, shaking hands like it was some business transaction. And the last photo, the one that made me feel like I might suffocate just looking at it, was a picture of you, taken just a week before Aunt Marissa was going to ship you off. You were playing in the yard, happy, carefree, not knowing what your aunt was planning behind your back. Amara froze. The pictures fell from her hand, scattering across the table. She didn't even look at me. She just stared at the images in front of her, her breath shallow, her face twisted with confusion, disbelief, and a growing sense of betrayal. "No," she whispered, shaking her head. "No, this can't be real." But it was. And she knew it. You could see it in her eyes. She knew she was staring at the reality she'd refused to believe. The woman she'd looked up to, the one she'd trusted, she wasn't just some loving aunt. She was a master manipulator, someone who would have sold her own niece to the highest bidder, all while smiling that sweet, innocent smile. I didn't wait for her to speak. I couldn't. The words had been choking me for years, and now I had to say it all. Amara, this woman, this monster, she didn't care about you. She cared about herself. She cared about power, about controlling you, about making sure you were obedient to her. And when that wasn't enough, she was willing to sell you to a cartel, to send you into a life that no one should ever have to experience. But I stopped her. I found out what she was doing, and I made sure you were safe. I turned to Tyrell, who was standing there, looking like he'd been hit by a freight train. His eyes were wide, his mouth opening and closing like he didn't even know how to process the information. "Yeah, Tyrell. She was ready to send your wife away, without a second thought. Your precious mother-in-law didn't give a damn about Amara. She only cared about herself and how she could benefit." Tyrell looked at me like I had slapped him, like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. He stood there, frozen, like his world had just come crashing down. And you know what? It had. The room? Quiet. Too quiet. The tension was so thick, you could feel it pressing down on your chest. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. It was as if the entire world had just stopped. Amara was still staring at the pictures, the truth sinking in, piece by piece. Her face was pale, her lips trembling. But she didn't cry. Not yet. I could see the storm building in her, the anger and the hurt rising in her chest. And when that storm hit, when it finally hit, oh, baby, I didn't know if Aunt Marissa would ever recover from it. I stood up, my voice strong, no longer hiding the fury I'd been holding back for years. "This is the truth, Amara. This is who your Aunt Marissa really is. Not the perfect aunt. Not the woman who helped you when you were struggling. No. She's a manipulator, a predator, and she almost destroyed you. And now? Now you get to make a choice. You either believe me, or you keep living in that fantasy you've been fed." I didn't wait for her to respond. I didn't need to. The truth was already out there, and there was no going back. "Amara, I wish I could tell you that what's about to come next is easier to hear. But it's not. And if you thought Aunt Marissa's actions were bad so far, trust me, what I'm about to reveal is worse than you could imagine. This isn't just about her trying to send you away. This goes deeper, much deeper. Aunt Marissa, your so-called perfect aunt, has been controlling your life and Tyrell's for years, keeping you both in line with false promises, lies, and manipulation. Every single thing we believed about her? It's all been a lie. This hits like a punch to the gut. How much of my life has been shaped by her lies? How many decisions were made based on a false image of who she was? I can't even count the times I've felt like I was living in a shadow, like I was caught in a trap of her making. And you've been caught in it too, Amara, thinking she was your only protector, your only ally, but all along she was pulling the strings, controlling everything from behind the scenes. And now? Now, I'm done. No more hiding. No more staying quiet. No more playing small. We're going to break free from the chains Aunt Marissa set up, and you're going to see her for who she really is. Amara, listen carefully. Aunt Marissa has been pulling the strings of your life for far too long, and she's been doing it by making sure you thought she was the only one who could help you. Everything she's ever done for you? It was to make you think you were nothing without her. She built a web of lies so thick, you couldn't see the truth even if you tried. She's been controlling your choices and making sure you never saw the bigger picture. The lies, the manipulation, it's been going on for years. But today, right here, it all comes to light. I need you to understand something that's going to be hard for you to take in. Aunt Marissa didn't just disappear after I stopped her from sending you away. No, she didn't go back to her perfect life like nothing happened. She ran. She ran away to a remote village in Africa, thinking she could hide from the truth. She thought she could escape the fallout of her actions, but she didn't know that nothing stays hidden forever. She knew the truth was coming for her, and she thought running away would save her. But let me tell you, Amara, running only works for so long. Aunt Marissa didn't just vanish because she was scared of getting caught. She vanished because she knew she'd been exposed. She knew what she had done, and what she almost let happen to you was about to ruin everything she built. Now here's the part you're really not going to want to hear. When your mother, your real mother, was alive, things weren't as simple as Aunt Marissa made them seem. You never knew the truth about what happened to her, not because she didn't care, but because Aunt Marissa made sure you never knew. Amara, I know you were just a little girl when it happened, but this is something you need to know. Your mama? She was hung by the cartel. They didn't care that she was a mother. They didn't care about anything except the debt she owed. And Aunt Marissa? She didn't stop it. She let it happen. Your mama was taken by the cartel and hung in the streets as an example for everyone else who might think they could get away without paying their dues. But your aunt, she wasn't the one stopping it. No. She knew it was happening, and she did nothing. Why? Because she was working with them. She was getting her own slice of the pie, Amara. She was keeping the cartel in her pocket, making deals behind the scenes while your mama paid the price. But she didn't stop there, no, she had plans for you too. She wasn't about to let what happened to your mom stop her. You were going to be the next part of her game. When Aunt Marissa tried to send you away at 13, she had no idea what she was getting herself into. She thought she could control everything, make you disappear just like she did your mother. But I wasn't going to let that happen. I found out what she was doing. I stopped her. But that wasn't the end of it. Aunt Marissa thought she could just run off to Africa, away from the mess she made, but I wasn't going to let her hide. I followed her. I found her. And I made sure she knew I was done being silent. She was about to make another deal with someone who could have ruined your future. But I found out who she was meeting with, and I made sure her plans were finished before they could even begin. And now, it's time you knew the full truth. I've got the evidence, Amara. I've been holding on to it for years, just in case this day ever came. I've kept everything she did, all the lies, all the photos, all the letters. I've kept it because I knew one day you'd need to see the truth. And now, that day has come. I opened the envelope I've kept all these years and laid it out on the table in front of Amara. The weight of it was so much more than just paper and pictures. It was the weight of betrayal. It was the weight of everything Aunt Marissa had done behind our backs. Open it, I said, my voice steady, though I felt the pressure rising. This is the truth. This is what your precious Aunt Marissa didn't want you to know. She hesitated, her hand trembling slightly as she reached for the envelope. I could see her nerves. She didn't want to believe it. She didn't want to see the truth about her aunt. But I wasn't going to let her look away this time. She opened it slowly, and her face went white as she pulled out the first photograph. It was of her mother, standing with Aunt Marissa. There was a document in her hand. A deal was being made, one I hadn't known about. The second photo was more chilling. Aunt Marissa, smiling at a man from the cartel, shaking his hand like it was some business deal. The third, your mother, looking scared, trying to get away. The last one hit hardest. You, just a child, not knowing what was happening behind the scenes, playing in the yard at 13, oblivious to Aunt Marissa's plot to get rid of you. Amara dropped the photos. She couldn't even look at them anymore, but she didn't say a word. Her face was pale, her eyes wide with shock. She couldn't process it yet. And then I hit her with the final piece. She didn't just sell your mama, Amara. She was going to sell you too. She tried to ship you off, tried to make another deal. But I stopped it. Amara's body shook as she tried to come to terms with what I had just told her. The silence in the room was deafening. Tyrell was staring at the floor, speechless, his face pale. He didn't know any of this. None of us did. And now that it was all out in the open, it felt like the ground had shifted under us. But there's no going back now. The truth is out. The lies are exposed. And Aunt Marissa, wherever she is hiding, is going to have to face what she's done. I don't know how she's going to come back from this, but one thing's for sure, none of us are going to let her control us anymore. Now, Amara, you've got to decide. You've got the truth. You've seen the lies. You're no longer trapped in her web. It's time to step into the light and choose your path. But know this, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. We're in this together. And this time, we're free. Amara, I've been quiet for far too long. I've kept my mouth shut while I've been working, loving, building a life for this family, your family. I've kept everything inside, thinking maybe one day you'd see the truth. But you just made me realize something. When you looked me in the eye and said, "You're not half the woman my Aunt Marissa is," I froze. My heart dropped in my chest. All of the years I've spent pouring into this family, all the sacrifices, all the love, and you threw it in my face like it was nothing. You hurt me, Amara. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Your words hit harder than anything I've ever felt before. But what hurts even more than that is how much you've been living in a lie. A lie Aunt Marissa fed you for years. You were her puppet. You didn't even know it, but everything you believed about her, about me, was twisted and manipulated for her own gain. She's been playing us all, and you? You were in her grasp without even knowing it. But not anymore. The truth is out now, and it's time we all faced it. You've been my stepdaughter, Amara. I've loved you like my own, even when you didn't realize it. But the truth is, you've been manipulated by Aunt Marissa, and the time for pretending is over. It's time you understood the reality of who she really is. Aunt Marissa has been pulling the strings in this family for years. She's been manipulating you, controlling Tyrell, controlling me. She's created a web of lies, and she's kept us all tangled in it. But now, the truth is here. It's impossible to ignore anymore. Aunt Marissa isn't some saintly woman who's been looking out for everyone. No. She's a puppet master, and we've all been too blind to see it. But you know what? I'm done hiding. I'm done being quiet. I've watched her tear this family apart from the inside, and I'm not going to sit by while she destroys us anymore. I know the truth now. We all know it. And Aunt Marissa? She doesn't get to hide anymore. I'm standing here now, ready to expose her, ready to pull the rug out from under her perfect little world. She thought she could get away with manipulating us. She thought she could run her little schemes without anyone catching on. But here we are, Amara. The curtain's been pulled back. The truth is finally exposed. And now, it's time for Aunt Marissa to face the consequences. She tried to control you, Amara. She thought you were just another piece of her game. You were just a pawn in her twisted little plans. But you're not anymore. You're my stepdaughter. And you're going to know the truth. The real truth. Aunt Marissa is cornered now. There's nowhere for her to hide. She thought she could keep up her perfect little image, but the walls are crumbling, and I'm not going to let her escape. She doesn't get to live in a fantasy anymore. This is real life, and the truth is too big for her to cover up. I can see it in her eyes, she knows. She knows it's over. She knows she can't keep playing the game. But she's trying to hang on. She's trying to keep the mask on, to pretend like everything's fine, but it's not. The facade is falling apart. You know what's been bothering me, Amara? The way Aunt Marissa has been pretending like she's the only one who cares, like she's the only one who's ever sacrificed for this family. I've spent years giving and giving, doing everything I can to help all of you, and where was the gratitude? Where was the appreciation? You never saw it, did you? You never saw what she was doing behind the scenes. She wanted to make sure you thought she was the only one who could save you. The only one who had your back. But I've been here for you, Amara. I've been here all along, doing everything I could, and you didn't see that. You didn't see the truth until now. But that's okay. You see it now. Aunt Marissa isn't just a little manipulator. No. She's been destroying lives. She destroyed your mother's life, and she almost destroyed yours too. She tried to send you off to a cartel when you were 13. She sold you out. And now? She's facing the consequences of everything she's done. But I'm not done yet. I pulled the documents out of my bag, the ones I've been holding onto for all these years, the ones that prove everything Aunt Marissa tried to hide. I laid them on the table for everyone to see. The photos of Aunt Marissa making deals with the cartel, the documents, the receipts, the letters she thought she could keep buried. I laid them all out in front of her, in front of the whole family. This is who your precious Aunt Marissa really is, I said, my voice steady, but my anger building with every word. She's not the saint you thought she was. She's not the woman you've been looking up to all these years. She's been selling us out, using us, controlling us, and I'm done letting her get away with it. I turned to you, Amara, and I saw the shock in your eyes. It was like I could see everything clicking into place for you. It was like you were finally waking up from the fog Aunt Marissa had put you in. You see this, Amara? I said, my voice softening just a little. This is the truth. The truth about Aunt Marissa and what she's been doing. I didn't want to believe it either. But I had to face it. And now, so do you. Aunt Marissa's eyes were wide with panic now, her mask slipping, but she still tried to play it off, still tried to act like she had control. But it was clear to everyone in the room, she was broken. She couldn't keep it together anymore. The truth was too powerful, too much for her to hide. You've been lying to us all this time, I said, turning back to Aunt Marissa. You thought you could manipulate everyone, but you're done now. Your time is up. You're not in control anymore. And you're going to face the consequences for everything you've done. I'm sending all of this, every piece of evidence, to the authorities. I'm making sure everyone knows the truth about you. You're not getting away with this. Aunt Marissa stood there, speechless. Her hands shook, her lips parted, but no words came out. She was cornered. She had no defense. The web she had so carefully woven was unraveled in front of her, and there was no hiding anymore. I don't care what happens to you anymore, I continued, my voice firm. You tried to destroy this family. You tried to tear us apart, but we're stronger than that. We're stronger than you. And now you're going to face the consequences for your actions. The room was still. Everyone was quiet, taking in the enormity of what had just happened. The family had finally seen the truth. They had seen Aunt Marissa for what she truly was. And now there was no going back. I turned to you, Amara. It's over now. You're free. We're all free. And for the first time in years, I felt the weight lift off my shoulders. The chains that Aunt Marissa had wrapped around us, around this family, were broken. And we were free to rebuild. Free to start over. No more lies. No more manipulation. The storm had passed. And we were still standing. The dust has settled. The house is quieter now, almost too quiet. But after everything that's happened, after everything we've been through, there's a calm that's settling in. It's a strange kind of peace, the kind that comes when the storm finally passes, and you can hear the wind die down, the chaos quieting around you. But don't mistake that calm for everything being okay. Not yet. No, honey, this is just the beginning of what comes next. And while the weight of the truth is heavy, it's also the thing that's going to set us free. I stand in the living room, looking around at the aftermath of it all. The family, the truth, the fallout, it's all there. But it's not just the house that's changed. It's all of us. We're all different now. I turn my attention to Amara, and for the first time, we're truly seeing each other. Really seeing each other. I've been the one standing in her corner for years, trying to be the mother figure, trying to guide her, protect her, show her love. But it's been a one-sided effort for so long. She didn't see me. Not really. And I didn't see her either, not the way I should have. But now, after the storm, we're both standing in the light of truth. And we're finally meeting each other where we are, not where we thought we should be. It's raw, it's real, and it's hard as hell. But this is the start of something new between us, something that's been waiting to happen for a long time. I know the truth isn't easy to swallow. Trust me, I've been there. I've been lied to, manipulated, and pushed around by Aunt Marissa for so long. I never thought I'd get to this point. I never thought I'd see the day when I wasn't afraid to speak up. When I wasn't afraid to finally face the truth, no matter how ugly it was. And I'm not the only one who has to face it. We all do. Amara looks at me, and I can see the pain in her eyes. I can see the guilt, the confusion, the shame of realizing how much she's been controlled, how much she's been manipulated. It's not her fault, not all of it. She was just a kid when Aunt Marissa started playing her, pulling her in like a fish on a hook. But now, it's all out in the open. Now, she has to decide who she's going to be. Who we're going to be. I walk over to her and I don't say anything at first. I just stand there, letting her breathe. Letting her feel what she's feeling. Because we both know this is just the beginning of the healing process. The pain won't go away overnight. It won't be fixed with just a few kind words. This is going to take time. But we're stronger than we've ever been. The shadows of Aunt Marissa no longer haunt us, and for that, I'm thankful. For so long, it felt like she had her claws in every part of this family. She had us believing in her perfect image, and we all played along. I played along. But no more. I've reclaimed my power. No more hiding in the shadows. No more taking the back seat. It's time to stand tall, to finally let the light shine on all the parts of me that I hid for too long. Amara takes a deep breath, and I see her start to soften. The anger is still there, but now it's mixed with understanding. She's seeing things for what they truly are, and I can't help but feel proud of her. This girl who thought Aunt Marissa was a god is realizing the truth. Her aunt isn't a savior. She's a manipulator. And Amara? She's not a victim anymore. We've both been victims in our own way. We've both been caught up in a web of lies. But now we're moving forward. Together. I sit down beside her, my hand resting on hers. I squeeze it, and I can feel her shaking. It's not just from the shock of everything that's happened. It's from the weight of the truth. The realization that the life she thought she had was built on lies. But that's okay. Because now, she has the power to rebuild. To make her life what she wants it to be. To see herself clearly. We've both been through it, Amara, I say softly. You and me? We've been in this battle for a long time, but we're stronger than we were before. We've been broken, yes, but we've also been built back up. You've got a new chance now. A new beginning. And so do I. She looks at me, her eyes still full of pain, but also something else. There's hope. There's strength. And there's understanding. I'm sorry, Mama, she whispers. I didn't know. I didn't see it. And in that moment, I know we're finally seeing each other. Really seeing each other. Not through the lies, not through the masks. Just us, raw and real. Don't apologize, baby, I tell her. You didn't know. But now you do. And now we move forward. No more secrets, no more lies. From this day forward, it's all out in the open. And we rebuild. Together. It's going to take time. We both know that. We both know there's a lot of hurt to heal. But the most important thing? We're free now. We're free from the chains that Aunt Marissa tried to bind us with. She's gone now, out of the picture. But the truth is with us, and we have the power to make the future whatever we want it to be. We're going to heal, we're going to grow, and we're going to do it on our own terms. No one is controlling us anymore. No one is manipulating us anymore. It's our turn to live the life we deserve. I stand up, my hand still on Amara's shoulder. I look around at the family. The silence is deafening, but I can feel the weight lifting. We've all been through hell, but this is the moment of rebirth. This is when the real healing begins. Tyrell stands up next, his eyes still red but filled with determination. I can see he's ready to step into his power too. He's seen the truth, and now he knows exactly where he stands. We're all in this together, I say, my voice strong and steady. No more secrets. No more hiding. We're moving forward, and we're going to do it right this time. We're going to build something real, something strong. And nothing is going to tear us apart again. The room is still, but I know the change is happening. The family is forever altered by the truth. But that truth is what's going to set us free. We're moving forward now, stronger, more honest, and more empowered than ever before. The storm is over, and now we rebuild. We rebuild with the knowledge that we're free. Free to make our own choices. Free to be who we truly are. Free to live our lives on our own terms. Together, we've stepped out of the darkness and into the light. And there's no going back now. The future is ours to create. If you've been with me through the chaos, the betrayal, and the hard truths, then you know this story is far from over. But trust me when I say, this is just the beginning. If you believe no one should ever take kindness for granted, that being a good person should never be twisted against you, then hit that subscribe button now. And don't keep this story to yourself, share it with someone who needs to hear it. We've got more family drama, more secrets to uncover, and more lessons that will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about loyalty, love, and truth. Click subscribe and join Voices of Granny Tina. Because after everything we've been through, we're stronger, we're wiser, and we're ready for whatever comes next. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Let's keep this journey going together.